I
I close
close
my
my eyes
eyes.
only
You live
for a
for a
moment,
moment,
and the
and the
moment's
moment's
gone.
gone.
All
All my
my dreams
dreams
pass
pass
before
before
my
my
eyes
eyes
with
with curiosity.
curiosity. Dust
Dust
in the
in the
wind.
wind.
All we
All
are
we
is
are is
dust
dust
in the
in the
wind.
wind. You're my boy, Blue.
You're my boy, Jaden. You're my boy.
That's what it's come
Uh,
down to, folks.
that's it. I mean, no truer words can be said. Deck chairs on the Titanic, dust in the wind, can't even talk right. I
All
mean,
our dreams as
that's
Commanders fans are dust in the wind.
all we are is dust in the wind. Welcome back to the Dom and Pop podcast. How you doing, Pop?
Ooh, that was fun.
Yeah, that
You might
was
have a new career going. What do you think? I mean, you're already a great musician.
um
I need to work on the pipes a little bit. They cracked a little bit there. I thought it was
yeah,
doing okay.
before anybody wants to give me too hard of a time about my singing, I'll just kind of show that and then we'll
There
take it
you
off
go.
the screen.
There you go. Not known for your singing, known for your
No,
guitar.
not the number one thing I do for sure. But anyways, guys, it's a disaster here. That's why we're having some fun. We just got to make fun of it. This is, I mean, for all intents and purposes, the worst Commanders team I've seen in a while.
We've seen some
Obviously,
battles.
we've seen some bad ones, and we know a bad team when we see it. And that's what I kept saying the last before things all the way went off the rails. You know, like we're talking like Chicago game, like earlier in the year when I had bad vibes. I kept saying like seen some bad teams, and when this team looks bad, it looks like one of those teams. This team can't figure out who they want to be right now. No more identity crisis. No more team can't figure out who they want to be right now. This is just a bad football team. We lost 22-44 for the fourth week in a row. Fourth week of 19 or more point loss.
Just dodge the 20-point loss thing. It's a historically bad defensive run.
Yeah.
That's the reality, right? It's historically bad. And you talked about the stages of grief last pod. This is what we're
Yeah.
down to. Singing Dust in the Wind and
Talking about grief.
taking you through the stages of grief. But yeah, I was in denial for a long time. I'll admit it. I was just trying to figure out a way to say, okay, it just can't be this bad. And
Yeah.
I was actually going through the schedule. We went to the Maryland Georgetown game Friday night and going through the schedule with your uncle and our friend, and it was hard. It was like, yeah, where's the win? Where's the win? Miami just beat Buffalo.
Well, and we've talked
I
about
mean,
this with prior teams, right?
I
Where
mean,
we
I'm
would
sure
look
they'll
at
mess around and get one or two, but like,
uh
it's
are
hard
you?
to.
We've talked about this with prior teams, right? When we were bad in years past and we'd say, "Oh, the Falcons aren't that good. We should be able to beat the Falcons. Oh, the Giants are bad. We should be able to beat the Giants. Oh, the Panthers are bad. We should be able to beat the Panthers." No. No, they're looking at us saying the same exact thing. You don't think Miami
Of course.
is looking at us saying this is a team that's completely lost. They're in complete disaster mode. This is a chance for us to start building some momentum and to make something out of this season and to get a second straight win.
Well, there are teams on the schedule. I guess mainly Miami and maybe the Giants
Maybe the
that you
Vikings.
could argue, maybe Dallas at times, that are equally bad. But that's not giving me a lot of comfort, right? I mean, we were supposed to be in a position to compete with these last four teams that we played. And, I mean, look, the injuries are devastating. You don't have your QB1, you don't have your wide receiver one, you don't have some of your best players on defense. I get it. All that's bad. Regardless of what got us here, to go from the NFC Championship game to 3-7 on a 4-game losing streak and looking like the worst team in the league because even the Jets are winning games now. Um, it's incredible. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I don't think you're looking like the worst team in the league right now. You don't have the worst record in the league. I think you I think is today. I used to talk about last year with Jane Daniels, like if you brought an alien onto Earth and you taught him about football and no background information, nothing, you just said, who's the best quarterback? They would say Jaden. I think if you brought an alien down to Earth right now and you said, who's the worst football team in the NFL? It'd say Washington. And it's not necessarily how it works in terms of like the context and how you get here and injuries and da 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 da. But man, you know who's also hurt? The 49ers. They lost Fred Warner. They've been without their starting quarterback. They've been with Mac Jones. What are they? It's 5-3, 6-3. Like this is just and this is not.
Well, they got smacked today.
Yeah, they got smacked around today.
6-4.
6-4.
They were 6-3.
Would you not be doing backflips if we were 6-4 right now?
Oh yeah.
Like a 6-4 would be totally under. We'd be on here.
They're by far a better football team than we are. But I also think that it's a difference between a team that's been, you have the same management, same coach for a period of years. They've built depth up. Shanahan is, I've said it before. The only guy I'd put ahead of him is the guy in Kansas City. Otherwise, that guy just, in terms of offensive coaching, is just incredible what he can achieve.
It's kind of...
I would be scary if he ever really got a legit top 5 quarterback.
Yeah.
Anyway, this isn't the 49ers.
Kind of neither here nor there, yeah. But the bottom line is you can do it with injuries. Guys do it with injuries. Teams do it with injuries. It is possible. Guys get hurt all the time. This is the National Football League. I understand we have had a really disappointing number of guys get hurt. And I would say that has contributed certainly to a handful of these losses. But I personally don't think Terry McLaurin makes a 22-point difference, especially when he doesn't play defense.
You can't win with this defense.
Yeah, this is atrocious. And this is in the same way that last year was a complete top-down systematic success. This is a complete top-down systematic failure.
You're in a situation because I think if you're going to talk silver lining, I don't think the offense was terrible today. They moved the ball, they put up some points. Maybe Detroit softened up some, but generally I think they played pretty well. The run game was non-existent again. But you have to have an offense that is running at top 5 levels like they were last year to clean up the stink of the defense. And when you run into really good teams like the Eagles, like the Chiefs, like the Seahawks, like the Lions, if they're going to score every time they have the ball, I mean, you just, it's impossible to make up for that. And it's rough times because one thing that's upsetting is that you've got your franchise quarterback who struggled to stay on the field. You're in a weird situation where he might come back healthy with 5 or 6 games to go, and you're literally in a situation of scratching your head. Is it worth putting him out here? Because you want to get in situations where you're behind because your defense can't stop anybody, and defenses can just tee off on him. That's another, we'll save that for another time. I mean, I guess we haven't talked about the fact that the Jaden news isn't as bad as we thought, but it's just hard to look at what's coming up and be super optimistic. And you're faced in, year 3 of not really being in year 3 of a real rebuild, of almost having to blow the roster up for a second time. That's not good.
Yeah.
That's not a good situation to be in.
And just for the...
And I'm not saying they can't claw their way out of it. Don't get me wrong. But it's just not a good situation to be in.
And just for the... just for giggles here. We're 20th in the league in offensive points per game. So that's an issue. But you could attribute that to not having Jaden. I'm fine with that. But the number 1 points per game in the league is the Indianapolis Colts at 32.2. We have averaged, let's fully understand this, averaged giving up 38.5 points per game in the last 4 games. The
Yeah.
best offense in the NFL can't outpace that.
Yeah.
You're a touchdown behind the best offense in the NFL if you're trying to outpace that. That's impossible. And I know complimentary football is a thing, and if the offense does better and scores more, the defense isn't on the field. There's no way. This is I said it today. This is the only team in my lifetime that I can remember. And, when I was a kid, not paying super close attention to games, but I didn't have much reason to. But
2023 was pretty bad. But
2023 was pretty bad. This, maybe because I'm coming off of the high of last year, feels worse. I don't know if this is better or worse than 2019, but at least in 2023, you were in a handful of games. I mean, I can't remember the last time we've turned on the TV and just been out of this many games. I mean, Goff was 25 for 33, 320 and 3 touchdowns.
I mean, you're out by the third or fourth drive of the game, right? Like offensive drive for the other team. Like you're at a point where you're like, it's 21-3. Like, you're out of games by the end of the first quarter.
Yeah. And it's like, just what? And even, I mean, I hate to say it, it feels like you're out of games the first time the opposing team's offense touches the ball, because you watch that first drive and you just go, I mean, Gibbs was going 4 yards downfield before a guy even attempted to tackle him. You're getting blown off the ball on both sides.
See, he was doing that in the playoffs too. The difference was we got him to turn the ball over.
We scored 45 points. We got some pressure on
chair, but that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. You had and I think the offense, if you told me we had to come back with the exact same offense next year and we were healthy, I could live with that. If I was going to I was talking to the insider a little bit about it over dinner. And he's got to be happy. His team won 3 in a row.
Super Bowl.
But the offense, I think, and Cliff, people want to dig on Cliff. I just didn't see him a whole lot wrong with what I saw today. I mean, you can nitpick certain things here or there.
Can't run the ball. But you can't do 50% of what the job of the offense is.
Okay. I would say I retract my statement.
It's an issue.
I did say earlier the running
there are 2 things you can do offensively, and one of those 2 things we cannot do. So
that's true. But I'm also, I also think that our backs are not what we thought they were, and
that's also fair. But I don't think they're that much of a drop off from Brian Robinson for us to be seeing this drop off in year 2. I sorry to interrupt you, Pop.
No, I mean there wasn't. I think I was headed towards a dead end.
Yeah, well, speaking of,
I was trying to find some silver lining. I mean, like I said, I do think the offense is that far away from being back to where they're proficient again, especially if they were to be healthy. Treylon Burks looked pretty decent, looks the part. Maybe he's our, this year's Noah Brown.
Who?
Well, in a sense, right? Just, he might prove to be a capable number 3.
A guy that you get off the street and can help you out. Right. I mean, look, dude, Treylon Burks' first-round draft pick, I think he's got all the talent in the world. I think he could easily...
He looks the part, man.
I think he could be a very good player for this team. I can't do the Treylon... I was texting you the whole game the only reason I'm watching these games at this point is to see, Jacob Martin. Looks good. Bring him back next year. Good depth. Good piece. Treylon Burks, sure. Wide receiver 4, fine. But man, the roster was built really badly last year, and you had to say, okay, some of that is, AP can only do so much in one off season, and you had all the cap space in the world, you had all the draft capital in the world, and you made some interesting decisions. And we're here now, and you had some injuries, which are unfortunate. I still think this is probably maybe a 5. What do you think? 500 with an average amount of injuries?
Yeah, I mean, I said that to someone the other day. I mean, I think it could have been a nine win team, maybe 10 win, but I don't
Right,
know.
but
At this point,
are you happy with 500 after 12-5 in the NFC Championship game at this
I'd be
point
a
in the
lot
year?
happier than
No.
I am now. You'd feel like you're closer. I mean,
Yeah, give a chance to get hot down the stretch,
just
but
just just to make ourselves. Maybe we should pull the guitar back out again after this one. But 320 yards passing for Detroit, 3 touchdowns. I was telling Dominic, we were texting during the game. Jared Goff, there couldn't have been a happier guy in America than Jared Goff, because that's just like zero sacks, minimal pressure. He's got guys running open all day. How much more fun can you possibly have playing football than Jared Goff had today? Maybe Jahmyr Gibbs, who went for 142 yards on 15 carries,
and 3
had
touchdowns.
more fun. Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns rushing. I guess, did he have one receiving?
Yeah.
Um, so maybe he had more fun. Whoever's got him on fantasy, maybe they had a little bit more of a fun day.
I would say
But you
I'm
give
on
up
Ross St.
320
Brown,
yards
but
passing,
he got clocked in the head by the wrong team.
226. Yeah, we'll get to that. 226 yards rushing. You might be surprised with my take on that one. But yeah, I mean, it was just, it's historically bad.
I mean, it's bad when I'm not even showing any urgency during the halftime schwitz. It's bad when I'm in the shower at halftime and I'm like, yeah, let's take a few extra minutes in here. Nothing to get back for in time. It's just atrocious, man.
546 yards of offense.
Dude, this is the worst team in the NFL. It's the worst team in the NFL. There's no like yeah, there's no way around it. And I think there's absolutely a Dan Quinn conversation to be had. I think anybody who says there's not is in denial. You're lying to
Well, and
yourself.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, like, a lot of people are going to talk about tanking. They're not going to tank. Now, they might tank unintentionally.
They don't have to try to tank. They can keep doing what they're doing.
Exactly. Like that, they might tank unintentionally, but they're obviously gonna, try to win games. I think Dan Quinn has to try to win games.
Yeah.
Dan Quinn might have to try to get Jaden back out there and show some.
Which, what a disaster of a sentence that is. That makes me sick to my stomach.
I don't know.
That sentence.
We'll talk. Let's talk about that one next pod. I've got mixed feelings about that. Like, I just asked the question. Seeing him in that elbow brace today gave me pause. But you're going to come out of the bye with 6 games to play. Okay, regardless of what happens in Spain. Thank God that'll just be over before breakfast.
I ain't waking up.
Appreciate that. But don't give up your secrets, son.
Ain't no secret.
They
haven't woken up for a game in 4 weeks. You think I'm gonna wake up?
But I don't even know where I was going now. See, like, you caused me to lose my train of thought.
My bad. See, it's the whole system's off today.
The whole system is off. I think we were on. We were flexing the pipes earlier, but
we weren't on pitch. But
oh, come on, we're expecting a little too much there. But yeah, I don't know. Do you know where I was going? I don't know. I lost
something about going to Madrid and Quinn's got to play to win. They're going to play to win.
Well, they got to play to. No. The Jaden Daniels point cut.
Yeah,
good. Is if you've got 6 games to go, now, not to say he's going to be ready after the bye, but it's a possibility from what we're hearing, right? It turns out the elbow injury is a pretty minor injury at the end of the day. Do you really sit someone who's near 100% healthy for the rest of the season? It's supposed to be your franchise quarterback with 6 games to go. I don't know that you can do that. Or 5 games to go, or 4 games. I don't know. Now, you can certainly take him out down by 30, in a game. You could certainly pull him at halftime if things don't look like they're going, the way they should. You could certainly sit him down and tell him he's got to learn to protect himself better. It's interesting. I'm not voting yet. I'm just presenting the problem.
We're not going to have to vote because I think he's going to get put on IR Um, in the next few days, I think they probably
I don't think so.
he's probably not going to play next week, and you're going to see him
I don't
get
think
put
so.
on IR after we lose to Miami because Jaden Daniels missing the whole rest of the season. That is Dan Quinn's break glass in case of emergency. That is Dan Quinn looking at Josh Harrison going, you lost the heart and soul of the football team. I mean, we did the best we could, but how many teams succeed? If I told you, we've done this game on this podcast, if I told you at the beginning of the game that Jaden was only going to start and finish 3 games this year, you would have thought we would have lost that much. That is the break glass in case of emergency, is shut Jaden down for the year and go, hey, what can you do, right? Your MVP quarterback gets hurt. What can you do? I
Yeah,
hope
I'm not
and
sure.
pray people are smarter than that and will not be befuddled by that. I still think at this moment in time, Dan Quinn leads the clubhouse to be coaching for next year. But you gotta wonder if that seat is starting
But that's the
to
thing, like, what
warm
you
up.
just said, everyone could see through that. So I don't know that that's a strategy. If you're in a situation thinking I need to save my job, which, I don't know that we've gotten to that point yet, but
Do we get to that
you
point
know,
at 3-8,
but
3-9?
but yeah, if you lose to Miami, it's not good. But I don't know, shutting 100% healthy or close to 100% healthy, because I don't know, the elbow's not going to be a little sore.
How's the knee? How's
Jaden
the
Daniels
hamstring?
out for.
Like,
They both look great last game. Like, I don't know, it's interesting, but I'll say this: um, as good as an off season and as good as a year, and as good as the 2024 off season, and as good as the year was in 2024, we really missed an opportunity in 2025.
equal and
And
opposite.
maybe, maybe it's easy to say with hindsight that there was a mistake to keep signing veterans and keep trying to plug holes that way. And, that because we were close and there was no way to protect all the injuries, but they just really miscalculated how good this roster was. And I had that fear from the first couple of games we watched, because I feel like they tried to go toe to toe with Green Bay, and it was just an arrogant way to coach.
Got blown off the field.
Yeah.
Blown off the field
So
by a really good offensive mastermind who, by the way, the last time Dan Quinn and Matt LaFleur met, Matt LaFleur hung 45 points. He's 3-0 against Dan Quinn in his career, and he hung 45 points on Dan
but let me
Quinn when he
ask
was the
let me
DC
ask you
for
a
Dallas
question.
with a
Let
way
me
better
let me
defense.
let me ask you a question. Did Adam Peters put Dan Quinn in position to succeed this year?
I told you, complete top-down systematic
So
failure.
that's
I
the
don't believe
thing.
AP did his job. I also don't
I
believe DQ is
agree.
doing his job. So it doesn't, just because one
Yeah.
guy doesn't do his job doesn't mean the other guy
No,
gets away
no,
with
but
it not doing his
I'm
job.
agreeing. I'm agreeing with you about Quinn
Yeah,
and the team.
I agree with
I
you on AP. We're this is the this
I
is
think it's
we're in
here's
full
the
alignment.
thing. Like, if we were here's the best way I could sum it up. If we were 3-7 and we had all the injuries we had, and we were losing games by 7 to 10 points instead of 20 to 25,
Yeah,
I'd say okay. The team's competing, the team's close. They're just not able to overcome the injuries. This is
I think that
this
was
is
a.
barely pro football at this point.
It's not. I think that was a fair
Yeah.
conversation 4 weeks ago. I think at this point might have even been a fair conversation 2 weeks ago. But at this point, this is not like, and after reports of a soft training camp, reports watching the preseason, which was abysmal. We got blown out every game of the preseason, and the whole preseason we're saying, oh, but it's the backups and it's not that serious. I don't know, man. I got chills when Dan Quinn said, this is not a culture problem. This is an execution problem. I got goosebumps because I flashed
Well,
back.
what else is he gonna say?
I flashed back to Bruce Allen at the Happy Thanksgiving press conference in January when he said the culture, or no, that was after he got fired. Right before the Happy Thanksgiving January press conference, where Bruce Allen said the culture is quote unquote damn good. That
Did you hear what
just
Von Miller said?
it brought me back to that. Yeah, and then you got Von Miller, who should have been benched today for making a comment like that publicly. Like, and dude, you've done nothing this year, by
Pretty
the
much
way.
said he screwed up not going to Seattle instead of the coming to the Commanders. But
Yeah, I agree. He
yeah,
did.
but I mean that. But to me, that speaks of as much as we hear about the brotherhood. You got guys like Debo and Von Miller, and maybe even some of the guys that came back like Ertz and Wagner, probably going, "What the hell am I doing here?"
Yeah.
And so there's a
Ertz put it all out on the field today. Respect to him.
yeah,
But
he
yeah,
played hard.
if you're
I think
Bobby Wagner, why did you?
I think him and Wagner are going to give you everything they got until they're done playing.
Yeah,
But I'm not. We're saying a different thing. Even Debo, I think,
who asked to come here?
plays hard and gives it everything he's got and does everything he's being asked to do. Drops the occasional ball, but everybody does. But you think he's not thinking, man, maybe I should have checked out one or two of those other options that I had in the offseason?
Yeah, I could have
And
been
you
in
think he's
Buffalo.
thinking hard about wanting to re-sign here next year?
Heck no.
So
I mean,
so it's like that culture situation. It's taken a real hit. It's taken a strong hit. And, at the end of the day, and I said this earlier in an earlier pod, you got to be able to coach ball, man. All brotherhood stuff is great. All the culture stuff is great. Seemed like the players are really bought into it. But you got to coach ball. You can't be everybody's best friend.
you know what causes? You and I have both been on teams a lot. We both grew up playing team sports. It was a big part of our upbringing. I think it should be
Yep.
a part of everybody's upbringing. The teams, the best memories I look at the tightest knit teams and the teams that were the closest and the best of friends, they were always the teams with the best record. They were always the teams that won. And they were always the teams with coaches who knew what they were doing. I had a lot of great coaches. I had a few that had no idea what they were doing. I had a few that were really, really, really good. Shout out Coach Hal. And those were always the teams that were close and tight knit and had each other's backs. And especially the years where we did the best, it was always because of that. You think they're having conversations about culture in Seattle? Do you think they talk about culture in Kansas City? Do you think they talk about culture in Detroit and brotherhood? They don't care about none of that. It's about winning football games, because you know what creates culture and brotherhood? You know how much culture and brotherhood is probably in New England right now? Winning football games creates culture and brotherhood. It's easy. It's easy to have a good culture when you're 12-5 and your rookie quarterback is the hottest thing in pro sports and is lighting the world up.
Well,
Now's the time where it's hard to have good culture.
I honestly believe like all that's done. Like you can definitely. I didn't hear the post game press conference today. I'll check it out later, but you could tell Quinn's been humbled, right? I mean, his vibe in the last many interviews is completely different. So,
well, hey, I got good news for you, Pop. The solutions come from within. I got good news for you. The solutions come from within.
Well,
we just need to do some soul searching.
What else can you say? I mean, they're not, in that respect, they're right. No one else is going to solve this for them.
They ain't going to solve it either, but
yeah.
Anyways, so to my point earlier about the culture, it's easy to have good culture when you're 12-5, and it's hard to have good culture when you're 3-7. And you saw that today because you got Deron Payne punching dudes down 22-3. You got Javon Kinlaw getting in the face and actually making physical contact with a referee during an altercation. Like, dude, that's not. I am with you that I'm sure. I know Amon-Ra. I know his personality. I'm sure he goaded him. I'm sure he had it coming. And I know that's where you're about to go. But again, culture.
Well, we don't know what Amon-Ra St. Brown said.
Of course.
And I'm pretty sure.
I love Payne.
Ron Payne, who's a pretty mild mannered guy most of the time.
Was a pro.
I'm pretty sure Amon St. Brown said something pretty rough. And it was Bobby Wagner was in the mix too. I got no problem with what Deron Payne did. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm sorry. If somebody says something like that, and I'm drawing conclusions, but a lot of people on the internet are drawing conclusions about why Deron reacted the way he did. I don't think Deron reacted the way he did because of a touchdown celebration. I don't think it has anything to do with it. I think that kid came off and had something pretty nasty to say. And I'm sorry. If I'm on that field, and I'll admit it's wrong. If I'm on that field and I'm as big as Deron Payne, I'm probably doing the exact same thing Deron Payne did.
That's fair. Yeah, a couple more guys might have caught the grease for me if I was Deron Payne's size over the course.
If I was his size and somebody comes off talking that kind of stuff,
pretty easy to clock somebody when
maybe
you
he said something to Wagner. Who knows? We don't know what he said. We'll probably never find out. But I'm going to back Deron Payne on this one. I'm sorry.
But again,
and that's probably I'm probably in a 1%.
I'm cool with it. But like you're down 22-3, bro. You expect not to get chirped? You're getting blown off the ball every play.
Depends on what he said.
Yeah, I guess
depends on what he said.
There's a line for everybody, for sure. I'm not against your point. I don't disagree. I kind of don't care. I think it's a storyline, but I think it's when the culture goes left and when the brotherhood is coming apart at the seams, you got guys talking about Netflix and Hot Pockets and guys getting ejected. That's what happens.
I'd rather have a guy. Oh man, I don't even want to think about the. We still got the whole HBO show thing happening.
Christ, I'm not watching that.
Going on, but I mean, I'd rather have a guy show some fire, show some fight. Not want to take S off a 180-pound wide receiver, trying to talk tough. So I don't have as big a problem with that as many people probably do. That's just me.
Yeah,
I got a little bit more B-Mitch in me than people would probably think I do.
Yeah, that Hard Knocks is going to suck, man. That's going to be tough, and that's going to look really bad for a few people. Think about how that looked for the Giants a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, if Deron Payne was the type of guy that just doing that kind of thing, I don't think he's ever done anything like that before in his career.
Except for Jonathan Allen caught one in 2019.
They were just yelling at one another, right?
He clocked him. He clocked him.
I don't remember that. Okay,
yeah.
2. Come on. In how many years?
When you're getting beat 44-22, these things happen because teams with good culture that are good football teams don't get beat 44-22. It's the bottom line. By the way, Pop, Devin A-Chain went for 22 carries for 174 yards.
He's going to chew us up.
And he had 6 receptions for 51 yards. If anybody's good at math, he had 2 touchdowns as well. If anybody's good at math, that would be he was averaging 8 yards a touch. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you had Jalen Waddle, who also balled out.
Dominic, you've got your scouting report to make the Dolphins sound like the Super Bowl teams from the 70s.
Every team looks like looks like the Super Bowl team from the 70s. And this is you want to look like the 2007 Patriots? Play the Washington Commanders right now. That's how you look like the 07 Pats. It is just, this is a disaster. I don't know how we managed to talk about it for 35 minutes. I'm like, I feel like I got nothing to say about other than it's just.
Here we are, man. Start with singing.
Awful. Yeah.
End it this way.
Boys can yap. Yeah, everything's on the table. Any bit of news regarding firings would bring deep joy to my spirit. I don't think we're going to get any of it.
I'm not so sure. I'm not.
What do you think? What do you think? You think Whit?
I think there's probably a conversation around Whit. I don't know if it happens tomorrow because they're getting on a plane for Spain. I don't know that you want to, do that kind of thing bye week would seem to make more sense to me. But you gotta embarrass yourselves against the Dolphins. Something's got to happen.
There were we had both my friends and myself. I don't know if we talked about it. There were dialogues about this Madrid thing, and I have learned a very hard lesson, which is I will just never travel internationally for this football team. I just never will.
The problem is spending thousands of dollars to go watch a team that you bleed for every week when you watch them on TV. That's just a tough beat.
Because you can talk all you want about, oh, it was so nice to be in Spain and the tapas and being in Madrid was. You're coming home on that flight pissed if we get beat 45-15 by the Dolphins.
I'm going to take us around the NFL real quick, and then we're going to wrap this.
Yeah, let's go make.
But I would say I just kind of there's one other team that scored 44 points other than the Lions. If you want a little consolation, it was the Seahawks against the Cardinals, so they look definitely for real. Yeah. Rams spanked the 49ers, so they're also, at the top of the NFC.
Did predict them to be the number one seed. Don't ask who I predicted to have.
I'll just go through notables. I mean, Pats looked really good against the Buccaneers.
Yeah, Pats
that team seems like they're for real. They got a great running back, great quarterback. Ravens kept it rolling against the Vikings. They seem to have turned it around. We have not. And the Dolphins torched the Bills. You ran off some of the stats. So all of a sudden feeling like that is we're not going to lose to the Dolphins. A lot of people said that. Bears beat the Giants, came back from 10 points down. Giants seem to just be really good at blowing leads. Maybe they just want to nudge us out for that higher draft pick. And Colts won a thriller against the Falcons in overtime early in the morning. So,
yeah, it's
we're gonna have to shift gears, kind of talk a little more about the rest of the league because it's not a lot of fun talking about our boys. That's for sure.
I mean, I had fun today, Pop. I hope you had fun. I had fun. But let's wrap this thing up, man. As you can tell, the boys have moved on to the acceptance stage of grief. We're over it. This season's over. It was probably over a few weeks ago. But let's wrap this thing up without further ado. I've been Dom.
This is Pop.
Thank you all for thank you all for surviving another week with us. And hail to the Commanders.
Hail.